Okay, Ukrainian President Zelenskyy addressed Congress last night. Before that, he met with President Biden. Joining us now to talk about it, Robert O'Brien, former National Security Advisor during the Trump administration. Robert, welcome back. As always, I want to say Merry Christmas season's greetings, Happy New Year. But I also want you to listen to this key part of Zelenskyy's speech last night, please.
We have artillery. Yes. Thank you. We have it. Is it enough? Honestly, not really. To ensure Bakhmut is not just a stronghold that holds back the Russian army, but for the Russian army to completely pull out, more cannons and shells are needed. Okay,
so Robert, basically he's saying, you know, thank you for the money. The money now is going to come to something close to $100 billion. Some of it's weaponry, some of it's money to just support the Ukrainian government. But he's basically saying, I'm going to come back for more. I just want to get your thoughts on this. First of all, do you think a Republican House will give him more? Should they give him more? What are you thinking, my friend?
Well, thanks, Larry, and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to your viewers. And it's great to be with you during this holiday season. So thanks for having me on. In response to your question, I think, number one, the House, the Republican House, will give Ukraine more money, and we should give Ukraine more money. We've got two great adversaries, China and Russia. They're allies. They're unlimited partners. They both want to disrupt our way of life. They want to destroy our allies. And we've just seen Vladimir Putin make a terrible error this past year in invading Ukraine. He's lost half of his tank force. He's spent most of his missiles. He's now relying on Iran to supply him with drones. The vaunted Russian military is no longer a conventional threat to NATO. And we've done it by being the arsenal of democracy and supplying the Ukrainians. They've done the heavy lifting. We've supplied them. And now Russia is basically a spent force when it comes, at least conventionally. They still have their nuclear arsenal, of course. But they're going to be no help to China if China gets involved in some conflict in Asia. So this has been a good deal for us.
You know, you have said that we can't give them a blank check. And I just want to look at this. Personally, I'm in favor of the military spending, the weapons. I think that's really important. They're getting a Patriot missile system. I think that's really a good thing, too. But, Robert, there's, as you well know, let's say of this appropriation, $45 billion, some $12.5 billion, I think, is going to go sort of to general government purposes, economic assistance, humanitarian. It goes to a Ukrainian government that has a history of corruption. And I'm just asking you, are you concerned? We have good oversight on the military defense side. That's what I've been told. Do we have sufficient oversight on the Ukrainian government and how this money is being spent away from the battlefield?
No, and look, I think Kevin McCarthy was criticized for saying that we're not going to give Ukraine a blank check. I think future Speaker McCarthy was 100% right. We shouldn't give anyone a blank check. We shouldn't give the Australians or the Brits or the Dutch a blank check. You know, and those are countries with very little corruption. And Ukraine has a history of corruption. So we need to make sure Ukraine's gotten better. It's been a lot better since 2014, since the Maidan Revolution. But we've got to make sure that the money that we spent, and this is hard-earned dollars of the American taxpayers, this is money that's come out of people's paychecks and being sent to Ukraine. We need to make sure that there's proper oversight. You know, we saw in Afghanistan horrendous corruption where the money would go to Afghanistan and get put on pallets, put on a plane and sent to Abu Dhabi and put in a bank account for Afghan leaders. We can't have that happen here. I hope it won't. And I think with proper oversight, we can make sure that the dollars are protected. But you're right. The money we need to spend is on the Ukrainian military. That's where we can be most effective. Let the Europeans spend the money on rebuilding Ukraine and on the civilian government. That the Europeans are great at soft power. We're good at hard power. I mean, I just keep thinking of Putin, and it reminds me of the old saying about Caesar Augustus when he lost his 3 legions in Germany, and he would wander around the palace and say, "Varus, Varus, give me my legions back." I've got these images of Putin, you know, wandering around the Kremlin, you know, saying, "Give me my troops back. Give me my airborne assault troops back. Give me my tanks back." You know, so it's been a good victory for the West and for freedom in this battle so far. We got to help the Ukrainians, but let's stick to the military aid, and let's let the Europeans come in and handle the civilian aid. And I think that's a good division of resources for us.
Well, speaking of Putin, okay, let's continue that. Last night, Zelenskyy said, and I'm not sure what exactly this meant, The Russians will stand a chance to be free only when they defeat the Kremlin in their minds. Now, is this about defeating the Kremlin? Is this about defeating or replacing Putin? Is there mission creeping into this Zelensky story? Is he trying to get the U.S. to commit to something? Or is it just about, you know, freedom in Ukraine and keeping Russia from invading their borders? Which is it?
No, this is about protecting Ukrainian sovereignty and Ukrainian independence. It's not about regime change in Russia. We haven't had a good history on regime change over the past 20 or 30 years, as you know, Larry. We don't need an endless war. And let's keep in mind, Russia has 1,250 strategic nuclear weapons pointed at us. They've got another 2,500 or more tactical nukes pointed at our friends in Europe. So the idea that we should be doing something with the Kremlin or seeking regime change there, that's up to the Russian people to do that. And Putin's a bad guy, and he treats his people terribly, and they've got every right to be upset with him and do that. But Zelensky got to focus on freeing Ukraine and not worry so much about the Kremlin. Now, you know, it's understandable he feels that way. I mean, Putin invaded his country, tried to kill him, tried to kill his family, so I can see why he doesn't like Vladimir Putin and he wants him gone. But America has to keep in mind our interests are in a free and democratic Ukraine and maintaining sovereignty there. We've got no interest in a war with Russia.
Yeah, that's very important. You know, mission creep often becomes a difficult thing. Last one, Robert O'Brien. We appreciate your time very much. I was interested. Several times Zelensky linked Russia and Iran and called them terrorists. Now, I didn't have a problem with that, but you're the national security guy, you're the intelligence guy. Why do you suppose he did that? Iran and Russia working together, both terrorist countries. What do you make of it?
Well, look, we know Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terrorism, and they sponsor terrorism all over the Middle East. They're trying to kill Americans. They're trying to kill dissidents around the world. They're aiding terrorist organizations like Hezbollah and Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq and the Houthis in Yemen. And so that's a terrorist state. You know, I think the Russians must be humiliated to have to go hat in hand to the Iranians to get equipment and platforms and weapons to fight the Ukrainians. So, I mean, the Russians are turning to a terrorist country to get their weapons and to get military advice. It must be utterly, you know, just terrible for Russian generals to have some Iranian Revolutionary Guard guys come show them how to fight in Ukraine. That's got to be embarrassing to them. And so I can see why Zelensky's linking them together. And we ought to take stronger action against Ukraine, or excuse me, against Iran with respect to what they're doing in Ukraine, but also with respect to what they're doing in the whole region. And you know, the fact that Iran can build these drones and we haven't put maximum economic pressure on them since President Trump left office, and they've got this military-industrial complex that can supply Russia. That's a failure for us, and we should fix that.
I think to some
for
extent,
ourselves and for our friends like Israel and in the region. Right.
We're out of time, you and me, but I'm just saying, you know, in some sense, Zelensky may have been warning Biden. I mean, I think this myth, this dream of a nuclear deal with Iran is finally off the table. But in some sense, Zelensky might have been reminding Biden, you know, just how bad Iran is. Sometimes the Biden crowd needs to be reminded of that, right?
I sure hope so. This religious zealotry that they have to get the JCPOA put back in place, which was a terrible deal to begin with.
Yep.
It got worse over time, and putting it back in place now would make Iran a legitimate nuclear power. It's incredibly dangerous. I hope it's dead, and I hope Zelensky is. The Biden folks love Zelensky, so maybe they'll listen to him on Iran. I hope so.
Yeah, good point. Robert O'Brien, thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.